I mean, there was this wide array of different responses that teams had. It was massive. It was this huge deal. And we want to say, okay, well, what was the effect of that? Did that actually drive anyone away? What did that actually do when it comes to viewership? Did that threat of a boycott actually result in lower ratings? That was our question. That's what we wanted to answer. But we took out cases when the home team was on, just because nothing spikes viewership like that. If you're in Pittsburgh and the Steelers are on the game, you're going to watch more football. That's just how it works. So by and large, we accounted for that. We said, okay, well, let's take that out. Let's just look at kind of generic NFL interest. So in Pittsburgh, any team but the Steelers are on, what's happening? And what we found writ large was that there was a drop. There was a drop in viewership. It was slight. A 1 percentage point difference in strong Trump country, places where Trump won by double digits, and a much smaller drop in Clinton country. It's interesting to me, though, that there was still a drop. So the drop was kind of across the political spectrum. It was a bigger drop in strong Trump country, roughly on par with places that were a toss-up, that kind of were lukewarm on both candidates. That was the #1 biggest finding. Small drop, barely visible. You know, for most of it, we took out the cases when the home team was on, but then we wanted to look specifically at that. So, okay, your home team is on. Are you watching more or are you watching less? And there was this strong correlation. If the home team was good, you watched. The percent of people who were watching in strong Trump country was almost identical to the percent of people in strong Clinton country, that were watching. They both dropped, but it was by the exact same percentage. It just seemed like this was a universal change in how we watch the NFL. Regardless of politics. The big thesis takeaway of the story was, look, this had an impact, but it was minimal, and good football could completely overrun it. That was the big picture finding. That's a fact. Looking market by market, you see that the impact was minimal. I spoke to a couple professors who've done a lot of studying in this area, and they said, look, you guys are looking for a monocausal explanation. You're looking for a single political explanation for what we're seeing here, and that may just not exist. There was a lot of stuff going on. There's concussions, like I said, floods. Is a team good or bad? Are there injuries on that team? Indianapolis, for example, is another outlier. Well, they had no quarterback. Everyone knew they were going to suck all year long. Can we say it was definitively Trump? Not so much. However, that part of the analysis that I mentioned earlier, where we looked at just those couple weeks, to me, that seems pretty definitive. That seems like there wasn't really a correlation between people tuning out and all this hullabaloo that was going on. It just wasn't there. If there was any time we could expect to see an impact, it would have been there. It didn't exist. It seems like people watch football depending on if the team is good or not, and not politics. Shocking.